Hey everyone, welcome to FedBiz Exchange. Today I'm going to talk to you guys about how to make sure that federal buyers can find you when you're using the most valuable codes, product service codes. But before we get started, please subscribe and share our channel with other business owners and aspiring government contractors. I'm Michelle Brown, and don't hesitate to write to me to ask your questions. In this video, I will teach you the importance of using product service codes, also known as PSCs, and how it helps you to consistently locate and win contracts for your company. After this video, go ahead and download the link so that you can get the full list of the PSC codes to update your SAM profile and also to search for new contracts. So what is a product service code? Number one, product service codes indicate exactly what was purchased by a contracting officer, and then it's put into what we call the Federal Procurement Data System. That's where they track all of the buying activity. Number two, there are a lot of product service codes. In fact, there are thousands of them, and you'll see that when you download the list of product service codes for your own company. There's a code for every single product and every single service. And this is what the contracting officers use when they are setting up a contract to get you to sell them something. Number three, these codes must be used just like NAICS codes, NAICS codes. Everybody talks to you about NAICS codes, but rarely does anybody talk to you about PSC codes, mostly because people don't understand them. Even the so-called gurus don't talk about this. They are in your profile with the government. So this is how contracting officers learn how to find you. In fact, they are more important than NAICS codes, PSC codes, and also FSC codes. They're kind of one and the same. You'll see what I mean by that when you get the list. Number four, PSC codes are consistent across every agency, meaning if someone is talking about a refrigerator or appliance at the Veterans Administration and they're also talking about the same refrigerator and appliance, let's say in Homeland Security, the code is going to be the same. On reverse, for the NAICS code, that could be different because NAICS codes are at a hierarchy and they are not consistent. And you will find out what I mean as you learn and go along with me about how PSC codes and FSC codes work. So here's a snapshot of the product service code and the federal supply code listing, one and the same. But as you can see, I highlighted these two lines because these are product service codes that I use. One is a FSC and one is a PSC. Regardless, I could search for an item in fbo.gov. I can search for an item in FedConnect, and I can also search for the same items in DIBS. So this is how I find my contracting opportunities. I depend on these product service codes and FSC codes more than I do NAICS codes. So how do PSCs help you win contracts? Number one, you must bid often and consistently to win. If you don't, your chances of winning will be extremely limited. This is why I'm teaching you the foundational things, because you need those PSC codes and those FSC codes to find lots of opportunities in DIBS and or FBO and or FedConnect. Number two, PSCs help you know where to find the exact contracts you may be searching for. I like a lot of medical stuff, as you can see, as I've mentioned to you, I work on pharmaceutical. So I know for a fact that the FSC and the PSC codes that I use, I'm going to find lots of opportunities through the Veterans Administration, on FBO, and also on DIBS. Number three, contracting officers can easily find you. If you are in SAM with the right PSC codes, when they do market research, which they have to do, they don't always do it, but they're supposed to do it. They do it when they get frantic and they cannot find enough businesses to do what they need them to do or to sell them what they need to buy from you. So they go to a place called the database, the small business database, and they look for you. But if your codes are not right, they're not going to find you because they put in keywords attached to those codes. That's another thing about FSC codes that I did not put on this slide. Your FSC codes can give you keywords. Isn't that great? I've done that before lots of times. Number 5, you can also use PSC codes to determine other areas of opportunity. What if these codes you're finding when you do some research, oh my God, they're not buying that much in my industry for this type of product? You change direction very quickly. You do some more research and you find what they are buying. Because sometimes people don't want to buy what you're selling, but you may be selling something else that they want to buy. Okay. And number 6, how much they're spending and how to locate contracts for your company. With these PSC codes, you can do so much. You can run all kinds of reports to find out which contracting officers are spending, how much they're buying products for, where they're spending, meaning which states, who your competitors are. There's so many things you can do. You can do that with NAICS codes too, but it is not as effective. PSC codes get you directly to the exact products that the government is buying from people like you and your company. Okay, now let's head on over to fbo.gov. I already have it pulled up. And so I'm just going to click on search contract opportunities. I want to show you how my PSC code works for me and how I can find a lot of opportunities when I put in my PSC codes. Not every single day do I find something that I want to bid on, but most of the time. I also follow a lot of things that I like. I did a video for you on following. So let's just quickly go over here. You can, as you can see, starting from the top, you go all the way down towards the bottom. I'm going to put in my PSC code, which is, I have 2 that I use for medical all the time, 6515. And that's mostly medical instruments and things like that. Not everything is a surgical or medical instrument. Sometimes it's gloves under this code. This is what I mean when I tell you that you need to know what the contracting officers are doing and how they structure their contracts. But this is one of my favorite areas because I can find a lot of opportunities. Now I want to get rid of all the minutia, so I'm just going to make sure that the type of notice that I'm looking for is a solicitation. Sometimes I'm looking for sources sought, so I will put in a sources sought. I know that some of you have not been trained on that, but I will train you on that probably after we do solicitation training. But this is going to be mostly the Veterans Administration, as you can see. It's lots of different opportunities in here. I know you see this here where it talks about a refrigerator, but it's a pharmacy refrigerator. Okay, so these are sources sought, and they are also solicitations. And if, as you can see, if you look at the dates, they are current. You always want to make sure that you use the last updated activity. Okay, so now if you're doing research, you can use relevance. When you put in keywords, a lot of times it'll just come up relevance because they're matching your keywords. But I have a lot of opportunities in here. Looks like 155 as of today. Tomorrow there could be 255, but I generally will look through these keywords to see if anything appeals to me. If it does, I right click it, copy it, and I put it on my spreadsheet so that when I'm ready to do my bidding for the day or the next day, I just go back to my spreadsheet and I start working on what I put away. I also follow the opportunities because remember what I said, I want to make sure that I get updates for everything that's happening with these opportunities. So this is 6515. Now I'm going to do 65, and you can do multiple if they're in the same category. That means if their first 2 letters, which is FSC, if the first 2 letters are 65, that means they're all in the same category. So now I'm going to do 6505 because that's where all my pharmaceutical drugs are. I do pharmaceutical manufacturing. So I want to bid on every drug opportunity I can find. And there are not very many small businesses that have these licenses to do this. So my competition is minimal and I love it. So, and if I'm also using a veteran certification working with one of my veteran clients,
our chances are really good as long as we're consistent. But this is what happens when I put in the 6505 for drugs and biologicals. I could also use another PSC code. There are at least 4 that sometimes will pull up drugs. I could also put in my NAICS codes, but I don't like to put in the NAICS codes and the PSC codes at the same time because I want to see the opportunities that are brought by both. Sometimes you will see the NAICS code and the PSC code that show up in the same solicitation. Sometimes you do, a lot of times you do, but that doesn't matter to me because sometimes, too many times, I don't see that and I don't miss anything. So what I'll do is I'll run a report for the PSC codes, then I might come back and run a report for my NAICS codes separately so that I'm not missing opportunities, because you will miss opportunities if you don't understand this basic foundation with the codes. You will miss opportunities, and you will see them when you run a research report for awards. You'll say to yourself, how did I miss that? How come I didn't bid on that? It was for small businesses. Now let's say I wanted to check and see what's for small businesses under these codes. What I would do is come down here to set aside, and I would check total small business. That would give me 8As, that would give me veterans, that would give me everything, because all of those categories are considered small business. Now look at that, not too many, there are some, but I would go for these first more than I would go for anything else. Now most of these are old, okay, but look at this. This is a solicitation, this is a solicitation. But what if one of these was a sources sought? That means that it hasn't even gone to the solicitation stage yet. That's another conversation. I know I say that a lot, but that's because there's so much and I don't want to overwhelm you. But if these dates were current, I would bid on these things. As a matter of fact, I bid on famotidine all the time. This one, I'd have to click on it and see what are the 3 pharmaceutical products they're looking for. Okay, so when you get your PSC codes and you get your FSC codes, you're going to do exactly the same thing. One more thing I just want to show you really quick. What if I wanted to get everything at once? I'm going to leave the total small business in here, and I'm just going to use 65 because 65 covers everything under medical. And if I do 65, I'm going to get a lot more opportunities. I'm going to get 6515, 6505, 6530. I'm going to get all of the different PSC codes that go under the FSC 65. Okay? All right, that's it. And let's go on and let me give you your call to action. So your call to action is number 1, to download this list of PSC codes and FSC codes in the comments below. Number 2, find your correct PSC codes with descriptions from the list. You will also note that there are NAICS codes right next to the PSC codes. And NAICS codes can be used with any PSC codes and any FSC codes. The reason you want to change or add NAICS codes to your profile also, if you don't have them in there, is because you have to mirror yourself to what your buyer is doing, not to what you think it should be. It's about how does your buyer have it coded. And in this spreadsheet, you will know that information. Number 3, update your SAM with those codes. And number 4, start locating contracts with your codes. Thank you for joining me today. Don't forget to subscribe and share. I'm Michelle Brown. See you in the next video.